Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brave Fence and Musashi commentary. So the ancient tomb underneath the restaurant has been fully explored. We got all the eyes open, and our reward for doing so is the legendary belt, a double jump. And because of that, we can now get access to this one Bincho type we couldn't get to at the very top of Twin Peak Mountain because it's so far out of this one cliffside that you need double jump in order to reach it.
Can you even see that from anywhere in the area?
You can't, just barely from, I guess, the rock right on top of this cliff. Your only hint is your benchotype radar on the bottom right going nuts. It's like, where is it though? I can't find it.
Oh.
Do you have to go back to that mountain at any point later in the game?
Let me see. What did I just get? I got her for the weaving, so that's optional. I want to say after Aquilin? No. After the Aquilin thing for Timmy? No. You don't have to go to Twin Peak Mountain ever again. Well, that part of Twin Peak Mountain anyway.
Wait, you need the orange.
You need because we rescued Tim earlier, we got the orange early. So you give the orange to the clown and his sidekick Acrobat Sausages, so they can do their little performance, and then you learn shish kebab from that. Also, one orange becomes 3.
You know, as you do, casually replicating matter. You know.
Actually, that's a weird sort of rule in the Harry Potter universe is that you can't create food, but you can multiply it.
Wait, what?
Because that's creating food, though.
Wait, but you can make other crap out of thin air in Harry Potter, but not food.
like there are rules to what you can create out of thin air. Like you can't create food out of thin air for some reason, but you can multiply food if you already have one instance of it.
So wizards legally could end world hunger, but decide not to because Harry Potter wizards are assholes. Okay, good. Glad we know that now.
Well.
I mean, I know it's not the kind of thing you're supposed to think about.
It's kind of like they're not doing it because they're afraid everyone's gonna try and kill them again, which has happened.
Do they bring up the Salem witch trials in Harry Potter at any point? And if so, are they actual witches?
It comes up in Fantastic Beasts, but I don't think it was ever confirmed that there were actual witches there. But since Fantastic Beasts one takes place in America, you get more of a sense that there are more. It's like over in Britain, there's all this talk about purebloods versus Muggleborns and stuff. In America, it's like they don't have time for that. They're too busy worried about the actual Muggles. So
it's sad because it's true.
I like that guy there. He's got a shield and 2 swords. Like, wow. Okay.
He pulls a Zorro and he holds not Zorro.
The shield in his mouth.
Yeah, the shield.
Zorro.
In his mouth. Wait, it's Zorro? I thought it was Zolo because Zorro.
No, that's the 4Kids version.
Because Zorro's like the Western figure.
He's named after that.
Yeah, but that name's technically copywritten.
No, it's not.
It's like 90.
They couldn't name the series The Legend of Zorro or something, but you can name a character Zorro.
Okay, I guess that's true. Like you can name a character.
Marvel can name a superhero Superman all they want. They just can't title the book Superman.
Really? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that even though
that's to prevent someone from writing a book with all the common names on it and copywriting it and then suing anyone who makes a John Smith.
You see, that's interesting because the game codename Steam on 3DS, which is excellent by the way. You should play it. It's like it's like $5.
I think you said that at least once a year.
Because it's so good and nobody gives a.
Anyway, to your point.
The entire cast is characters from American folklore and literature. So John Henry is a playable character. Randolph, I forget his last name, but he's a recurring character in Lovecraftian fiction. Tiger Lily from Peter Pan. One of the characters is just called the Fox, and they don't really elaborate on her backstory very much. But she's the sniper, and she is Spanish, and she speaks with a thick Spanish accent, and they talk about her helping the poor in the desert and stuff like that. So it's very clear that she's supposed to be a play on Zorro or Zorro's daughter, but they never mention Zorro because Zorro himself is a copywritten character. Everything else they have is public domain. But they could not mention Zorro legally, so they had to...
There's a difference between just using a name and then referencing a specific character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is... It's weird, though, that... Because she's the only character that's like that. Everybody else is just name-dropped specifically. Even Wizard of Oz is in it.
Yeah, well, like I said, Marvel can make a superhero called Superman all they want. They cannot title the book that, and they cannot use it to reference DC Superman.
So they could have a Batman, but not the Batman.
Oh, so that's
Yeah.
why Spider-Man got away with the Batman quip in Runaways.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
I think there's another Batman quip in one of the Daredevil ones where he's like...
Hey, it's Red Batman.
It's Red Batman, yeah. I mean, I guess at some point it depends on when they... Like, when it's a joke or not, or when...
I like the idea that in the Marvel universe DC Comics exist, and in the DC universe Marvel Comics exist, though.
Yeah, and they also have a character that is shared between them, whose entire purpose is to keep the two universes separate.
Wait, they do?
Yes.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, I really like... I like that.
He's a homeless guy who guards a box, which is the portal between the two universes.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh god. Because, like, I know that they make references to, like, I think, like, there's a quip in Iron Man 3 about Tony Stark spending all of his time with the Super Friends at some point. Like,
Yeah.
although I'm sure that, like, you're allowed to make, like, a joke, you know? Or they're not gonna...
Yeah.
Because one of my other favorite jokes in the Lego movie was they needed heroes to go, like, solve the problem, and they sent the Justice League, and they never came back. And the quip was... And since Marvel isn't taking our phone calls, you're our only choice.
Okay.
So did she make all the vampires?
She's in lead of the Project Vambee project. Yeah, just the mission itself. Well, it should be said because the Vambees are not part of Thirst Quencher Empire's deal. They're just creatures of the night that inhabited that ancient ruins from long ago. Thirst Quencher Empire is just using them as a basis to combine them with their own soldiers to make Vambee soldiers, the red dudes that just dropped in. Like, they're Project Vambee. But
Okay.
to talk about what's happening on the screen, that catches up here because we went on like a 7-minute tangent right at the beginning of the part.
Oh, that's normal.
That's normal. Yeah, that's cool. So we got the legendary belt from the ancient ruins, and the restaurant owner wants to, make amends, get everything back up and running, but he can't finish his restaurant preparations because he noticed the well dried up. There's no water in it, so Musashi has to go get a rope to climb down the well. But the only place in the village that has a rope is the church. But the church has its own problems because the pastor was locked out of his building, and at night he hears strange noises. So we have to come back at exactly 2 a.m. in the morning to initiate this boss battle with the Vambee soldiers.
Why exactly 2 a.m.?
Because the time of the day is locked to this boss fight's design. The Vambee soldiers are invulnerable. You can't do anything about them. So
we have to wait till daytime.
We have to
I
wait
guess.
until daytime for sunlight to peer through those bullet holes those soldiers just conveniently happen to make right before this boss battle started. And this fight can be pretty scary because on top of the Vambee soldiers being invulnerable, they can stun you and grab you, which is a one-hit kill.
Ooh.
Not to mention, like, in the lore of the game, like, Musashi's just fighting a losing battle for 5 goddamn hours.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing an hour in this game's world is just like a minute.
Can you sleep? Is there a safe
I
spot
wouldn't
where you-
recommend doing that.
Yeah, but if there was, like, a place where you could glitch the AI and sleep, like, that would make this really
could,
easy.
yeah.
Because I know that there's stuff like that in some games. Like, even as old as Pac-Man, there are specific points in the maze you can go to where the ghosts will just never find you. Also, why don't we just leave?
The door's locked.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, if only there was an extra bench, then they can at least entrap Musashi inside church benches, but no, there's a clear exit spot.
What are the two guys near the chair doing?
They're
They're
just
still-
flunkies.
Because one's like taking a nap and the other is... I don't even know what
Dancing.
he's doing.
And they explode into guts.
Baloney.
Thirst quencher empire indeed. Ugh.
I like
We'll
the
just
other
let,
guy
we'll
was
just let those
just
soldiers live.
Yeah, it's just like he was just shaking his head. It's like, well, I guess you gotta let him go now because their monsters are dead.
Yeah, the only reason why why you have to come here at 2 a.m. is strictly for gameplay reasons. They want you to wait the clock out for that, which is funny because speedrunners have found a way to get to the roof because the loading zone for the church is always loaded on top of the building. So when you're in this chapter specifically and you go to that load, if you manage to glitch your way up to the top of the loading zone at exactly 7 a.m., the cutscene will play, the fight will start, but then they'll immediately die.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's pretty interesting and pretty funny. But all right, the Vambee soldiers have been taken care of. We got the rope, and now we can head down the well.
What the hell?
Better get down there.
What the hell?
What?
Why is there a claw there?
There's an anchor.
Oh, it looks like...
Oh, you see, I was wondering what it was too. It's just a very poorly modeled, like, grappling hook.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was like a crown at first.
It looks like a monster claw.
I mean, it could be. I don't know what anchor designs or hooks in the context of all you can eat look like. So,
Well, you know, they just went off the hook with their design from time to time.
oh man, I love when I
so.
head into wells and there's ancient artifacts lying beneath them.
I have the power.
It's pretty spectacular showing. You get all this energy building up, and then suddenly, bam!
I've gained the advantage.
I got the water. And just like that, we got our second legendary scroll, the water scroll. Pretty
What do you
nifty,
think
actually.
about
We
this
actually get more
talking
of them.
sword? Talking sword,
Hello.
buddy? You there?
Maybe if I sing to it.
How about no?
So the water scroll is has a few applications for it. I like it more than the earth scroll because it by activating it, you get a bubble. You can walk on top of water for a short time while the bubble's around you, and you can also shoot out streams of water. The streams of water don't hurt, but they can disrupt certain enemies, except the plant enemies. The plant enemies will actually get bigger if you shoot them with water.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
But normally you're using it for walking on top of water. But it does also act as a sort of shield, because while you have the bubble up, if you take contact damage, the shield will burst, but you won't take any damage. But you have to get the shield back up, if you want to keep doing that. But it requires a charge up time. So another reason why we're down here is not only just to, get the water back up and running, but the church bell was also stolen from a pair of thieves that we're not going to run into in it now, but we got to return the church bell back to the church right now. But I'm also using this time to get an item a little earlier than intended, because I know it's here. So the treasure chest that you see on the bottom right there is actually the legendary vest. It's an optional legendary piece of armor that you're supposed to wait until the next chapter to get.
Oh, but using the bell, you can jump over.
By using the bell, you can time a double jump and get here earlier than intended, and you can get the L-Vest now. Because we need to, after we liberate the water scroll, we need to head back into the well, use the water crest to raise the water up. After that point, you can easily get to that chest by using a bubble shield. But since I know it's there, and I know I can stand on top of the bell, we can get it now. And the L-Vest, let me see if I remember what the L-Vest... The L-Vest allows you to charge your fusion meter way faster.
So does it? It wasn't intended for you to be able to do that. I'm guessing, right?
It wasn't intended for you to get it that early, no. And I say that early, it's not that much earlier, because you can get it at the start of the next chapter.
Are we still in chapter 3?
Yeah, we're still in chapter 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
because
chapters in this game are pretty meaty, I have to say. How many are there?
let me see, 6 chapters.
6? Okay.
Yeah, on a good pace, even when you know what you're doing, a chapter can take about an hour and a half a piece, because there's a lot of things that have to get resolved within the beginning and end of that story. Because now that we've taken care of the Vambee soldiers, but there's still the issue of the natural Vambee still coming out at night. We have to deal with those. So we're just about ready to wrap that storyline up, but we gotta take the church bell back.
So it's kind of a coincidence that Vambees started popping up at around the same time the Thirst Quencher Empire tried to use Vambees against us.
I want to say yeah, because I got the idea that Thirst Quencher Empire was using Vambees for experiments way before they became an issue. Because the cutscene that precedes the Scorpion fight, where he's meanwhile back at the Legion of Doom, basically, Bubbles mentions that the Vambee research into giving them powers for their soldiers is finally showing results, which would imply that research has been going for a long time.
Right.
So the natural Vambees coming out of the restaurant around this time, yeah, I would say is a huge coincidence.
It's just so happens that once your vampire zombie research finally hits its stride, these other zombie vampires that are completely unrelated start showing up and giving your project a bad name, Like, I didn't have anything to do with them. You're just making vampire zombie research have a bad name. This is an ethical and highly necessary field of study. You ignorant buffoons.
Yeah, what he said.